Hi there, this is Mayor Karina Smith-Gadke with the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands, and this is your April Council catch-up. So we called our meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. We sang the national anthem and adopted our agenda. There were no disclosures of pecuniary interest, and we moved forward with the consent agenda, adopting minutes from public meeting minutes, council meeting minutes, committee of the whole meeting minutes for March and April. And then moved on to staff reports. So the council compensation review was ratified. We basically realized that, sorry, I shouldn't say that. I actually declared a conflict on this particular matter, which is 8.1 on our agenda. There was three options to council, one for status quo, one which changed the mayor's compensation slightly and left the councillors' pay the same. And then the third option was to not do anything until 2026, the new term of council. I declared a conflict on this particular item mainly because option 2 affected only me and not the rest of council. So I relinquished the chair to the deputy mayor. The ironic part is that the rest of council opted in to support my pay to be raised slightly. I think it's $993 a year to bring me in more in line with what the median is in the area, which was nice of them to do. Obviously, I don't do this for the money, but more to serve the community. Most of the time, it covers my gas. So I appreciate council's confidence and in the jobs that we do here and my role as the mayor. We also talked about asset retirement obligation, so that came forward as a staff report, which basically means as a piece of machinery or something wears out, we essentially retire it, and we'll keep it and use it, continue to use it, or if we need to procure a new one, it goes on to government deals, and it's an asset disposition. So we're in line with our treasurer's policy that is recommended across the province. In the information items, there was community improvement plan implementation. So we have a new community improvement plan which is affecting all of our communities and settlement areas as well as our rural area. So please go and take a look at that plan. If you want to better your property, there may be an opportunity for grants. 2024 quotations for operational services and contracted trades. So there was an open tender for local trades to register with us to be used in situations where we might need a plumber or an electrician or a landscaper on an emergency basis. And in order to be considered on that list, you have to provide certain things like insurance and the ability to respond in an emergency situation. We also received our Ivy Lee Wharf costing, so we are just shy of a $200,000 savings on the project overall. So we thank our staff for watching the pennies closely, as well as the contractor Kehoe Marine Construction. We also passed the 2024 annual repayment limit. We are nowhere near our debt repayment limit, but every municipality has to have this bylaw in place. We also received a thank you letter from Firefighters Without Borders Canada for 2 of our members of the fire service here at TLTI, and it was specifically thanking them for their assistance in training people in Dominican Republic. Our people had taken time off their own personal schedules and went with Firefighters Without Borders to train those in countries which may not have the same level of training as us. I'm very pleased to recognize Lieutenant Kirkland and District Captain Ian Robertson for their efforts in doing so. They actually even had an incident before they left to come home where they were able to assist a person in medical distress, along with a United Counties of Leeds and Grenville paramedic, Cassie Cross, who was also there to provide training to those who needed it the most. So we thank them for their dedication to the craft of being a first responder and being there when people need them. We also got a letter from CN Rail in regards to right-of-way vegetation management. They're basically looking for us to deal with any overgrown grass, weeds, anything that is noxious. The Township of Adelaide Metcalfe had a request to increase tile drainage loan limit. This came back for ratification at council as a support, but we don't need to do that because it apparently has come to light that the province is increasing the tile drain loan limit from 50,000 to 150,000, and we will share more information regarding that once we have the official documents from the province. We also got a letter from the town of Amaranth in regards to operational budget funding. This was a letter basically saying, well, if we have deficits, the larger cities have been coming back to the province to receive help, and that maybe some of the smaller municipalities should do the same. We did not ask for a letter of support to go forward with that. We are fortunate here in the township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands and are able to balance our budgets accordingly. Action required items 2134 Blue Mountain Road was deferred as it was a part of a public meeting, mainly because there were some questions in regards to setbacks and working with both the neighbor and the applicant, which I believe this motion will come forward at the next meeting that we have. We also had an application for zoning bylaw amendment for 474 Park Hill Lane to legalize the use of a bunkie. It was not constructed as a bunkie originally. It was constructed as a garage, but converted into a bunkie. This passed on a 4-3 vote in favor of accepting it. The next item was applications for official plan amendment, zoning bylaw amendment, and draft plan of subdivision in Lansdowne. This is probably one of the most exciting things we've been able to do here in the township since we've been elected, even the first term. As of council Monday night, we have a new draft plan of subdivision for Lansdowne on just off of County Road 3, south of the railroad tracks in the village, where we have over 70 new homes planned to be built. There are some conditions of this draft plan of subdivision, which the developer will have to meet, but all in all, it's great news for the village and the township, where we will have more housing available, and hopefully that will help a number of different things in the community, bringing more people here. We also had awarded a tender for multi-use court resurfacing and line painting, and that tender was for $83,443.20. We had only budgeted originally $50,000 for this project, but we had a contingency fund in our capital infrastructure budget, so we used $33,443.20 to top that up in order to facilitate getting the courts redone this year. And that is slated to be done in and around the July timeframe. We did bring up and note that Lansdowne Fair happens in that timeframe, so we will work together with the organizers, the contractor, and the township to make sure that it goes as smoothly as possible. The other exciting thing that happened, and it's great that it happened on the same night as the draft plan of subdivision, the Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund, and the motion is that Council receive Operations Infrastructure 2024-015 Housing and Enabling Water Systems Fund, and that Council authorize staff to apply to the Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund grant for new treated water storage facility and related infrastructure to support further housing developments in the village of Lansdowne, and that passed. So what we will be doing is filing with the provincial government for funding to help support something that we need to have anyways, regardless of this development, which is enough water reserves for firefighting purposes. We had a major fire just outside the village last year, and we drew down our water resources very quickly. It just underscored the study that we had done, saying that we didn't have enough pressure in the system in order to regenerate enough water in our water tower as quickly as we needed. And this new plan that we are asking for funding from the provincial government will hopefully alleviate that challenge. The next item is Partnership for Economic Enhancement and Revitalization Working Group Terms of Reference Update, and the motion is that we approve the amended peer working group terms of reference, which requires new organizations seeking to join peer to complete an application form. This just makes sure that we are ensuring that the people that are sitting on that committee are representative of the whole of the community. We also passed the 2024 tax rate bylaw, which will ensure that the new rate that we passed through the budget is applied, and the bylaw will indicate the specific rates depending on the actual property class, whether it's agriculture, vacant, commercial, residential, industrial. Next item was vacant lands at 405 Lyndhurst Road, and this motion did pass, which was whereas at a meeting March 18th, 2024, Council received information from Operations and Infrastructure regarding vacant lands owned by the township at 405 Lyndhurst Road, and whereas the report included information about environmental and archaeological considerations that would need to be taken into account if the vacant lands were open to the public use. Now, therefore, be it resolved that staff be directed to include as part of the 2025 township budget consideration an estimate for costs for environmental and archaeological work regarding the vacant lands, including possible costs for site remediation and the impact of all costs on the property tax rate. So that did pass. So in the 2025 budget, we will contemplate what it would cost the township in order to make that piece of property public lands for, say, a park or something of that nature. Councillor Lackey asked for the establishment of a township parks, facilities and recreation working group. This motion did change, which basically is asking for a recreation working group to come forward, and that did pass. The original motion included having a master plan done, but due to the time constraints, that probably could not be done between now and the end of the year, not to mention it was not in the 2024 budget and the costs associated with that. So it would have to be, if we were spending money on a consultant, it would have to be included in the 2025 plan. So under the mayor's update, I talked about the eclipse and how exciting that was this week, and all the people that came to our area to enjoy it. It was great to see a surge of individuals coming to our area to enjoy this very monumental event. I got to enjoy it with my 18-year-old son, and it's obviously something we'll remember going forward. It's pitch-in week, which I believe is April 22nd. So if you or a group of friends want to get together and clean up some roadsides or parks or any sort of garbage that has been inadvertently left behind, the township does have access to very specific pitch-in bags, as well as gloves and potentially vests for safety purposes. If you need any of those things, please come to the township office and someone will assist you with that. Also, I wanted to mention we are very grateful for our first responders in our community, as always. I want to identify that council our thoughts are with the family of the individual who unfortunately perished in a fire here in the village of Lansdowne on Sunday evening. The Ontario Fire Marshal's office is investigating the cause of said fire, and that's all the information that we can convey at this time. Nonetheless, it's always difficult when it's a small community and we all know each other and what that means, and everybody's safety is important to us here at the municipality, and we will work diligently with the Fire Marshal's office to complete that investigation. Then we went into bylaws, and everything passed, including the confirmatory bylaw, and we were adjourned just before 9 o'clock. So thank you for taking the time to watch this council catch up, and if you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach us here at the office, 613-659-2415, or reach us through email. All of our emails are on the website, or reach out to your respective councillor. Thanks so much. Have a great spring.